The emergency lights flickered as Marcus Webb gripped the armrests of seat 14C, his knuckles white against the navy blue fabric. Outside the window, storm clouds churned like a vengeful sea. He'd spent the last hour trying to ignore the turbulence, his mind wandering back to the conversation that had ended his career 3 months ago. "You're done, Webb," Director Harrison had said, slamming the medical report on the desk. "One panic attack at altitude, and you're grounded. Permanently." Marcus had tried to argue, tried to explain that 15 years of flying commercial jets shouldn't be erased by a single moment of weakness. But the Aviation Board had been unforgiving. His license was revoked. His identity, shattered. Now he was just another passenger, heading to Seattle to start over as a flight simulator instructor. A has-been at 42. The plane lurched violently, and a gasp rippled through the cabin. Marcus glanced toward the cockpit, his instincts still sharp despite months of forced retirement. Something felt wrong. The oscillation pattern, the way the aircraft was yawing, these weren't normal storm corrections. A flight attendant rushed past, her professional smile cracking at the edges. "Excuse me," Marcus called out. "Is everything?" "Please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened," she interrupted, but he caught the tremor in her voice. Minutes crawled by. Then the intercom crackled to life, but instead of the captain's reassuring baritone, a younger voice burst through, high-pitched, frantic. "This is First Officer Chen. We have a medical emergency in the cockpit. If there is anyone on board with commercial aviation experience, please identify yourself to the cabin crew immediately." The cabin erupted in confused murmurs. Marcus felt his stomach drop. A medical emergency. The captain incapacitated. That meant Chen, probably fresh out of training, was alone up there in the worst storm system Marcus had seen in years. He pressed the call button. The flight attendant who responded looked barely old enough to drink. Her name tag read, Sarah Kim. "I'm a pilot," Marcus said quietly. 15 years with Pacific Airways. "I can help." Sarah's eyes widened with relief, but then she hesitated, glancing at a tablet in her hand. "I need to verify your credentials." "What's your license number?" Marcus's jaw tightened. "It's been revoked." "But I'm the only chance you've got right now." "Revoked?" Sarah stepped back. "Sir, I can't just let someone into the cockpit who—" "Listen to me." Marcus stood, keeping his voice level despite the urgency clawing at his chest. "That first officer is probably 25 years old with maybe 300 hours of solo flight time. In conditions like these, with no captain, this plane could go down in the next 20 minutes. I've logged over 12,000 hours. Revoked license or not, I know how to fly." Sarah's face went pale. She looked toward the cockpit, then back at Marcus. "I have to check with—" Another violent shudder rocked the aircraft. Someone screamed. Overhead compartments rattled ominously. "There's no time," Marcus said. "Make the call." Sarah bit her lip, then nodded. "Follow me." The cockpit door swung open to reveal chaos. Captain Rodriguez slumped in his seat, unconscious but breathing. First Officer Chen was drenched in sweat, his hands shaking on the controls as he fought to keep the Boeing 737 level. Rain hammered the windscreen like bullets. "Who are you?" Chen gasped. "Marcus Webb, former captain, Pacific Airways." "Where are we in the approach?" 40 miles from Seattle-Tacoma, but I've never landed in conditions this severe. The captain collapsed right after we hit the storm front. I think it's his heart." Chen's voice cracked. "I don't know if I can do this." Marcus's mind raced. Every regulation, every rule said he shouldn't touch those controls. But below them, 200 souls depended on getting this bird on the ground safely. He slid into the jump seat. "Talk to me. What's your status?" For the next 30 minutes, Marcus coached Chen through the impossible. He didn't touch the controls, that would be crossing a line he couldn't uncross, but he became Chen's calm in the storm, his voice steady as they navigated wind shear that would have challenged even the most experienced pilots. Flaps to 20. Good. Now watch your airspeed, you're drifting. Compensate with throttle, not yoke. I can't see the runway. You don't need to see it yet. Trust your instruments. The ILS will guide you in. The airport tower cleared them for emergency landing. Emergency vehicles lined the runway, their lights painting the rain-soaked tarmac in streaks of red and white. I'm going to lose it, Chen whispered as they broke through the cloud ceiling at 200 feet. No, you're not. You've got this. Easy on the yoke. Let the plane settle. Feel it. The wheels kissed the runway with barely a jolt. Chen deployed the thrust reversers, and the aircraft slowed to taxi speed. Around them, the cabin erupted in applause. Chen let out a sob of relief, then turned to Marcus. You just saved all of us. How did you? Why didn't you just take over? Marcus unbuckled slowly. Because you needed to know you could do it yourself. And because I'm not supposed to be here. Paramedics rushed aboard for Captain Rodriguez. As they carried him out on a stretcher, stable, the medic said, airport security and FAA officials crowded into the cockpit. Marcus Webb? A stern woman in a blue blazer held up identification. Sandra Ortiz, Federal Aviation Administration. We need to talk about why a pilot with a revoked license was in this cockpit. Marcus expected this. He'd broken the rules, and there would be consequences. But as he looked back at the passengers filing off safely, seeing children clutch their parents' hands and business travelers shaking with relief, he felt something he hadn't felt in months, peace. I understand, he said simply. 3 weeks later, Marcus sat across from a review board in a windowless room in downtown Seattle. Sandra Ortiz was there, along with 2 other officials and, surprisingly, First Officer David Chen. Mr. Webb, Ortiz began, you violated federal aviation regulations by operating an aircraft without a valid license. I never touched the controls, Marcus replied. I provided verbal guidance only. A technicality that doesn't absolve you. She paused, glancing at her colleagues. However, First Officer Chen's report, the captain's testimony after his recovery, and statements from the cabin crew all indicate that your intervention prevented a likely catastrophic failure. Chen leaned forward. He saved my life. He saved everyone on that plane. And he did it by teaching me, not taking over. That took more courage than just grabbing the stick. Ortiz opened a folder. We've reviewed your case, Mr. Webb. Your original grounding stemmed from a panic attack during a routine flight, something that, according to your psychiatrist's recent evaluation, was related to untreated PTSD from an earlier near-miss incident. An incident you never reported or sought help for. Marcus said nothing. It was all true. The board has made a decision, Ortiz continued. Your license will be reinstated on a probationary basis, conditional on continued psychiatric care and supervised flight hours. You'll start as a co-pilot, not a captain. But you'll fly again. Marcus's breath caught. I don't understand. You showed sound judgment under pressure, Ortiz said. You put the safety of others above your own limitations, and you demonstrated that even without touching the controls, you're still a pilot. That's the kind of person we need in the cockpit. Don't make us regret this. Outside, under a rare Seattle blue sky, Chen shook Marcus's hand. Thank you, the younger pilot said. For believing I could do it when I didn't believe in myself. Marcus smiled. Sometimes we need someone to see the pilot in us before we can see it ourselves. As he walked to his car, Marcus looked up at a jet climbing into the afternoon sky, its wings catching the sunlight. For months, he'd been running from who he was. But that night in the storm, he'd learned something essential. being a pilot wasn't about the license. It was about the moment when everything goes wrong, and you still find a way to bring everyone home. He was ready to fly again. Friends, if you are enjoying our videos and want to watch new and exciting black man stories every day, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure to turn on the bell icon so you never miss any of our latest uploads. Like the video and share it with your friends as well, so our community can continue to grow and bring you even more amazing content.